Hey, what's up,
Um,
guys? Welcome, guys and gals. As you guys are
Lemon.
piling in, we're going to get
Hello,
started
hello.
in a couple of minutes. Hello, hello. Who is that saying hello over there?
This is Kenyette from Thompson Property Management Group under
Hey,
A&R
Yeah,
Thompson.
hey, Kenyette. Very nice to see you.
but it's
All right.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Hey, Val, make sure that people are muted on acceptance.
right. So he's like anybody that doesn't sign up with us, like we
Sweet,
get paid.
sweet. That's awesome. I'm hearing about somebody's deals. Feel like anybody that doesn't sign up with us, that might have been Matt Moore or Brian or David or Eric. It could have been any one of these usual suspects. All right. Let's see. You guys want to see something cool? Can you guys see that? Look at that. That's awesome. Oh, hey guys. Yeah. Drop in the chat. Who's here? Where you guys are from? We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Val, do you got any music for us?
Yes, you got it.
Is it not going? Pump it up. Maybe some T Swift or something or whatever you got handy. If not, I'm just going to be jamming on my own. All right. Cool. Man, packed house. I love it. Good stuff. Here, let me get that creepy face off of my face and put myself over here. Oh, man. Thanks for coming, guys. This is going to be an awesome workshop. You guys are going to walk away with an SOP for owner onboarding and a framework of how to repeat that and create more SOPs. So that's pretty exciting if you ask me. And if you guys are here, sounds like it's exciting for you as well. All right, let's see. Matt from Tampa, awesome. Hey, what's up, Matt? Yes, Kenyette. Hey, Kenyette. So go ahead, just drop in the chat if there's anything that you guys specifically want to make sure that I cover anytime in this 1 hour. Let me know. Now, I may not be able to get to it, but it would be a good, want, right? Or want to have. But I might be able to get to it. I might cover it already. We're going to go over SOPs and the structure, right? But we're going to make it fun. You guys can tell me how fun it is once we get through it. But also we're going to go over the onboarding expectations and what's important, what elements are important. And then we're going to put it all together. And you guys will walk away with an actual template that you can use to create any SOP. And you're also going to be able to walk away with this SOP too. So we got a couple of goodies for you guys. I always like to do that and make sure that you are well equipped. So here, all right, start AI companion, fine.
So exactly a year. So a full year.
Exactly a year. Whoever that is, we have to get that person muted unless they're talking to me. All right, boom. SOP like you mean it. And give me 1 sec here. All right. Is this one? Okay, cool. All right. So let's get started. We got a bunch of people here already. Usually some other people are going to come in late. So I have Delia and Val. Now you guys are muted, but round of applause. I'm just going to assume that you guys are clapping for Delia and Val, who are my left and my right hand. And I'm sure my wife's probably here too. And she's everything to me. So thanks, Jess. She's everything. But more importantly, why we're here for you. So just a quick check, just drop something in the comments like who here has ever wanted to document your SOPs or your processes, but then something got in the way. Either you decided that you wanted to watch Netflix that night instead, or doing something fun always seems to be a better alternative. And then you go from I should fix this thing to holy crap, my business runs smooth. That's what today is going to be like. We're not doing boring SOPs. Okay. We're generating a freedom generating SOP for owner onboarding. 1 hour, that's it. And you guys are going to walk away with what you need. So who am I? I'll give you a little bit about who you're learning from. If you don't know me, I'm not a corporate robot. I'm just a scrappy little property manager who's made a ton of mistakes. I started with 0 doors, like we all do. And I built it 350 fast. I sold a lot of homes, placed remote team members, and crashed a bunch of SOPs, procedures along the way. If there was a trophy for biggest onboarding screw up, I would probably have that. So I'm not teaching from theory. I teach this from I survived that chaos. Okay. And I'm not above a good old fashioned bribe. You showed up today, so I want you to leave with an extra bonus, which is, these are plug and play templates. So you don't have to reinvent, because you'll need email templates, and you'll need SMS templates and call scripts. So I will have them for you. I'll email them to you out afterwards. And yes, like think of it like free Costco samples, but for your business, but way less weird. So, all right. So why we are here, why we're really here is because most of us are building our businesses like assembling IKEA furniture, but without the manual. Anybody ever done that before? Right? After you assemble like one cabinet, it seems like the second one is easier. And then the third one's easier. And then the fourth one is even easier, right? But most of us are assembling IKEA furniture without the manual, and half the screws are missing. So I know you're here because, Val, you're here because you want to stop winging it. You're tired of making the mistakes. And we're also going to sprinkle in just a little bit of AI superpowers, but without the headache. Okay. What you're going to leave with, by the end of today, you will literally feel the difference in your business. You will have more clarity, control, and confidence. The chaos will slow down. You'll have to make less guesswork. And the most important part here is your team, right? And if you're a team member on here, your team will stop Slack bombing you with, what do I do next? Or, go check with the boss, right? What are we supposed to do in this situation? You'll have an actual SOP live that you're proud of. Cool. So where are you now? So tell me, do you have no SOP? Like you're straight up freestyling it? Kind of like if I go to karaoke night and I don't prepare and everything goes wrong? Are you winging it, where every new owner that you have is a different choose your own adventure, but fire drills on every page? And, maybe it has to do with your policies, right? Because policies are part of this process. And you guys are really going to be stoked when you see that, because I have some of those policies already documented for you. And then it's just, you can edit them. But winging it, are you changing your policies for everybody? Do you have outdated checklists? Maybe they were written when you were like hustling really hard in your business, but then like they're in a Google Drive somewhere, who knows where, or maybe it's in Notion, but nothing's been updated. Or do you have a decent SOP, and you just want to have some rocket fuel? Either way, you're in the right place, but let me know what you guys are working with. All right. So what is an SOP? And this is super important because there's SOP, policy, and process. And if you're not confused by them, please let me know, because I've been confused by them for the longest time. And I think that that understanding the difference between those actually does confuse a lot of people. So let's think of an SOP like a cookbook for your business, right? Without it, your team's guessing, does salt go in the pancakes or does hamburger go in there? Like they don't know the next steps. An SOP is who does what, when, and how. Kind of like grandma's approved recipe card for meatballs, right? Like, okay, this is how grandma makes the meatballs. Let's make sure we follow those step by step. And then grandma tastes it and she's like, what are you doing? And if you don't have an Italian grandma, then she might say it, a little bit differently, but, what are you doing? But it's like clarity with all the, when you're in a world of chaos, right? Now, SOP versus policy versus process. Okay. In plain English, think about it as policies are the rules. Okay. Like think, don't speed, wear your seatbelt. Okay. Process is the journey. Okay. Think Google Maps says 23 minutes to the target. And an SOP is the turn by turn directions. Get in the right lane. Turn after Dunkin' Donuts. Don't trust Apple Maps. Like SOPs are the step by step, the turn by turn. Okay. So rules, journey, turn by turn directions. That's how these things play together. Okay. And I think it's really important to simplify these concepts as much as possible because otherwise it's just overwhelming and confusing and nobody wants that. All right. Policies. Policies are the no negotiation zone. Like, think grandma's restaurant, no shirt, no shoes, no signed PMA, no service. Okay. Minimum standards for an owner onboarding process, signed management agreement, proof of insurance, reserve funds loaded. Okay. It's kind of like that, the velvet rope at the nightclub, it keeps out all the drama, but it lets the money in. Okay. So we have to have policies. We have to have these non-negotiables. And when I say non-negotiables, take that seriously. Like, do not negotiate on your non-negotiables. You have policies in place for a reason, and you don't need to operate out of a scarcity mindset. You ever been there before? Yeah. Like I was on a coaching call earlier today, one of my one-on-one clients, and they're doing different verticals, different types of business, right? So like they're a little distracted, which is okay, right? This is life. We're in this place from time to time. But at the same time, they're making a lot of exceptions. And what happens when you make those exceptions in your policies and you start negotiating the non-negotiables? Now it's confusing your team, okay? Because it's going to be very difficult for them to enforce a property management agreement if they have to look somewhere different. It's going to give you more inefficiency. There's just so many things that can go wrong by negotiating on your policies. Okay. Now, when it comes to process, this shows the whole journey. So think about it again, like the road trip. Okay. Property management agreement is signed, right? Like you're packed and ready to go. You got the documents collected, okay. Don't forget the sunscreen. The property's ready. You clean the car. Owner orientation, right? Having that first meeting with them, destination reached, and no one gets left at a gas station, right? Road trip, it's your journey. And I want to hammer that home because it's really important to understand that. Today in your SOP that you walk away with, you will have parts of the policies in place. And you will also have some of the communication and you'll see like the hierarchy. Okay. And we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. All right. So SOP, step-by-step instructions. Think about if you've hired team members before, right? Some of us are solopreneurs. We don't have any team members, but if you've hired team members before, imagine this reality, right? Team member starts day one and they have a guide, right? A dummy proof guide. Here's the email that you need to send. Here is the exact checklist of the things that you need to do. Here is the property readiness scorecard. What I hear a lot when we first start working with clients is that they have to take this time to train, right? Does this sound familiar? And if you're a team member and not the business owner on this call, was that your experience? Did you have to spend a lot of time one-on-one training with the business owner or your leadership team? Lots of times that's what we see. And the mistake that people make is that they do not document that. Imagine if you documented as you go. So here's something I'll give you right away, and write this down. If you're driving, maybe don't write it down. But if you're sitting down, go ahead. If you haven't heard of Loom AI or Scribe, okay, scribehow.com or loom.com, those two tools will help you document your SOPs as you go. Super powerful tools. Your team members can use this. I have other trainings on that, so that's not what this is today. But yeah, if you want to know more about those trainings, I'll tell you how you can learn more about those later on in this hour. But yeah, you got a new team member, they start, and you're spending a ton of time with them. Well, what if you didn't have to? What if they came on and they knew exactly what needed to get done and you have that guide in place? That's what happens when you have strong SOPs in place. Okay. You know how, without SOPs, you have these constant fire drills, right? Everything's a fire that it comes up. With an SOP, think repeatable, replicatable business, right? McDonald's, same fries every time, even if the ones who's working the frying machine has a hangover. You'll have consistency, clarity, control. And what is the most important part of this is, because this is your foundation, the foundation of your business. When I first got somebody mute. When I first got started in property management, when I say when I first got started, I'm talking about for the first 7 years, I did not have a foundation in place. Everything for me and my team was putting out fires, reactive mode, right? There was no structure. I was good at bringing on doors. I was really good at that. I wasn't good at having an owner onboarding experience. I wasn't good at having SOPs in place. So I had a lot of frustrated owners, not just from the onboarding, like that's where it started, but from so many trigger points in our system. Well, we didn't really have a system. There was all this tribal knowledge that people had, but it wasn't even the right tribal knowledge. So working on your business, right? Once you have this foundation in place, you're able to start working on your business, not in your business. And that's the exciting part. I hear that time and time again. So if that's ringing in your head right now, I want to work on the business. Okay, well, yeah, this is the key thing that you need. And then just a little bit about the cost of not having SOPs. It's kind of like running your business with a blindfold on, right? While back when I was doing it, while your team plays the game like WWJD, what would J do? That doesn't help. And I can't cascade every single message. You can't cascade every single message. So we want to have consistency in the owner journey, the owner experience, right? We don't want to have a Russian roulette for your reputation. We don't want to miss steps. Okay, that's going to lead to vacant properties, angry owners, and just profit leaks and revenue leaks for your owners. And your team constantly interrupts you, right? It's that, hey, what do I do here? Over and over and over again, and that gets super annoying. And it's not your team's fault, by the way. As the leader, as the owner of the business, it is your responsibility to have these systems in place, or to start building these systems and to get your team engaged. Okay. So let's get honest for a sec here, and just a quick gut check, right? We talked about this before, but I know there's a bunch of people that came in after. You might be thinking, I need to fix my onboarding, or I need an SOP in place, right? But you either don't have the time, or you don't know where to start, right? You don't have a clear roadmap, or you just don't have clarity on what needs to happen because it is super overwhelming. Well, today, right, we are going to be fixing that. Now, enough about SOPs for a sec. Let's talk about owner onboarding. Something I am super passionate about, probably because of all the mistakes that I've made in the past, but I think also because as a consumer, right? And I'm sure you guys can relate when you sign up for something, especially for somebody to manage your most valuable asset. Okay, like you expect communication, you expect for someone to deliver on the promise that was made to you, right? I mean, like we have this obligation. And this is an opportunity, owner onboarding. I mean, it's where everything starts. So you have the opportunity right now to set the tone for the entire relationship, to anticipate and eliminate issues, right? Because what happens right after they sign, and if anybody does brokerage, this definitely hits harder when it comes to brokerage because, like, you're chasing after getting the listing. And then once they sign, like, you never hear from them again. I knew a lot of real estate agents and brokers like that in the past. But the same thing goes with property management, right? You have to continue that communication. When you do bad onboarding, you have your churn is going to be high and it's going to be early. You're going to have constant complaints, lost revenue. But when you have a great onboarding system, your clients will be sticky, renewals will be easier, and you can actually get 5-star reviews. So much easier. Think about when you give somebody a great experience. Well, there's this law of reciprocity. People want to do something nice back for you. It's so much easier to ask for a 5-star review when you're giving great service. Now, if you're giving terrible service or inconsistent service, how easy or difficult is that? Pretty hard, right? I'm going to take a sip. Give me a sec. Hey, Pellegrino, it gets me every time. All right. So let's talk about the bad onboarding and these the costs. We were just talking about this a little bit, but there's the buyer remorse. You're all of a sudden considered a mistake within the first 7 days if you don't have a good communication schedule, or if you don't have a good handoff. Churn's quick, owners are frustrated, negative reviews, right? All of the opposite things will happen if you don't have a good onboarding experience. And again, I'm hammering home on this because this is a problem most companies have. Even the best ones out there, the ones that have been in business for a couple decades or longer, don't have a strong onboarding process. Some of those common mistakes, no expectations set, the sales to onboarding handoff, that baton ends up getting dropped, and the lack of communication. Think about communication for a second. Communication is so important in business, in family, in every frigging relationship. I'm trying to buy a car right now, and the lack of communication from one of the dealerships caused me very quickly to not trust them. Don't you think that it's the same for your owners? In fact, it is, because you put yourself in their shoes. And I know every single one of you on this call, your number one priority is to give great service for your clients. I hear it time and time and time again, right? So it's ironic, right? That's good use of that word, Jay, ironic. And that is the fact that we want to give great customer service. This is one of the reasons that really drives us every day. But then on the other hand, most of us don't have a strong onboarding process. So again, say goodbye to that. So touching on those 3 points, the setting expectations, this is going to be the difference between like that panicked owner texting you like, 9-10 times a day, and it's like, okay, thanks for the update. Use your templates so that you have the same message every time, using videos, texts, and emails. And I'm actually going to provide you, if you weren't here at the very beginning, I'm going to provide you with that playbook for free. I mean, we already have it, so why not share it with you guys? So you'll have that template. And here's the important thing. Let me stop for a sec. Here's the important thing. Nothing is going to change after this. Nothing is going to change after this workshop if you do not have intentionality. So I want you to take a second and make a promise to yourself, right? And maybe even open up your Google Calendar. God, I hope you have Google Calendar. But if you're using another type of calendar, that's fine too. I don't get sponsored by Google here. But open up your Google Calendar and block 1 hour, just 1 hour this week at any point that you will start working on this. You're going to have the playbook, okay? But you have to have intentionality. And here's a very easy thing to do. After that time block, when that 1 hour comes to an end and you've made some progress, that's when you have to set the next intentionality, right? You have to block that next hour and treat it as a non-negotiable, just like you should treat your policies. Treat it as a non-negotiable. It's in your calendar. It exists. You can't ignore it. Okay. Now, if you want bonus points, set 1 hour recurring every single week, same time, to work on your onboarding SOP or process, or I'll just call it the onboarding customer journey, and have it implemented. Just set 1 hour a day. That is a strong, strong habit that everybody should have in place. Okay, so let's go to the next thing here. Setting expectations, we were talking about, right? That's big problem. We're not setting expectation. Sales to onboarding handoff, and get ready. We're going to start building in a few minutes. But I just want to finish hitting on some of these really important pieces. Because if we don't talk about these things, if we don't address the elephants in the room, then what the hell is the point of being on this workshop? It's just another workshop, just another talk, just another waste of your time. And that's not what this is going to be if you don't allow it to, because guess what? I'm not going to allow it to. So let's go. So the handoff, this is the fumble. This is the most common fumble in property management. So you promise the sales, if you have a little bit of a bigger operation, you have a different salesperson than you do onboarding, right? Sales, we promise the world, it's like, yes, of course, we can do this. Yes, we can do this, and all of a sudden, poof, onboarding drops the ball, or there's no good handoff in between sales and onboarding. So there has to be a smooth onboarding handoff. That is in the framework that we're going to be covering today. Do not let that happen to you. You don't have to, but being aware of the problem is the first step, right? So, boom, building a predictable communication flow. This can seem daunting if you don't have a roadmap laid out, which we have right here now, right? So, and this is in your in the SOP template that I'm providing to you guys today too. Initial onboarding, right? What happens at initial onboarding? Welcome email with the next steps, setting expectations. What is the next step, right? Always set the expectations. So think about sales. You're the salesperson, you got the PMA signed. The next words that come out of your mouth should be, here's what happens next. That is the absolute best phrase that you can use when you're setting expectations. Here's what happens next. So we have those different emails and communication types. Always let them know what's next. And you get, fewer complaints. So you get all the things, right? And here's the bonus part. And most of us don't think about this, but this is the biggest opportunity to train your new owners. Because if you have a new owner who all of a sudden thinks it's okay to call you and talk to you at 8 p.m., right? On a weeknight or weekend, who gives a shit, right? Nobody should be calling you at 8 p.m. But if you allow that one time, now, boom, guess what? You set that expectation. That's what is okay, right? That's the standard. So you get to train them to do whatever you want them to do right now. You have an opportunity. Now think about any of your reviews that might not be so great, right? It happens. If you have a bad review, those bad reviews might be because you know, they didn't know how to use the owner portal, or they got less than what they expected on their first check, or they didn't know how maintenance works. Anything you want to train them on, you can do that by including it in the SOP, in the onboarding journey. Okay. Multi-channel approach. We're going to talk more about this, but it has to be mixed up, right? Videos. Now, you don't have to lead with videos, because I know a lot of you are scared to do videos, but I'm telling you, they are a PowerPoint for you. And I don't mean like PowerPoint presentation. I mean like they are a form of strength. They will make that bond that you have with the owner even stronger. It's going to build trust instantly. Text messages, quick answers, happy owners, right? It's a multi-channel. Emails, but here, phone calls too. You can't be afraid to pick up the phone. All right. Now, it's not for everybody, because some of us work with investors who never want to hear from us. All right. That's fine. But if you're like most PM companies, people want to hear your voice, right? This is a relationship business. Over and over and over again, we say that. So let's go ahead and walk the walk. All right, cool. So we're going to get into the live build right now. I'm going to share the my screen with the template, and well, I got to do that. So give me 1 second. You guys can see me IRL now. In real life is what my kids tell me that is. Boom, boom, boom. Hold on a sec here. And we have onboarding workshop right there. Boom. Okay. So we're going to go through, there's these 8 points, and this is what is going to give you the juice. All right. Share screen, Jay. And all right, I got that, and share. And let me see. All right, let me give you my little head. Oh, wait, can't see me yet. Hold on. Oh, hello again. Hi, how are you? Okay, boom. Here we go. Try not to be intrusive of this. Okay, so the first part of your SOP is, and there's a bit of a hybrid SOP, right? Like I said, it's going to have some policies, some space for policy in there. It's also going to have some space for communication points, but that is super important when it comes to owner onboarding. All right. So this is a great example here of a goal: to onboard property owners into the management system, collect the required documentation. We have to be clear, like, what is the goal of this SOP? Like, why are we even doing this? And then anybody that reads this, but more importantly, if you have this uploaded into a knowledge base, which, by the way, any of you that are on this workshop right now, who are in our WHO Crew Group Coaching and Masterminds program, right after this, we have Sina, the founder of Aptly, who is going to be on our AI mastermind. And we're going to be talking about his Aptly's knowledge base that they just released. And this is the perfect place where a document like this will live, because now people don't have to go through and read it. Because how many times how often is someone going to actually go to that document and read it? All they have to do is ask questions within the system, and it will pull and retrieve the answers. The AI will do that. So if you're not tech forward and you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to that, don't worry. This does not have to be that, but this is going to be your living, breathing document. So your goal, okay? And I'm going to share this editable Google Doc with you, which you'll get in an email right after this workshop. So you'll be able to put in your own notes. Okay. Not your own notes, but you'll be able to change this. So here's what I would do. I would just like copy and paste the example, and then I would just edit it, right? There's no point in reinventing the wheel. So you have your goal, and then you have your triggers, right? What begins this process? What begins this SOP? And typically, right? And if anybody has a different trigger or a variation of the trigger of when your owner onboarding SOP starts, let me know. Drop it in the chat. Like, definitely, we're always open to learning what other people are doing. This industry is changing very quickly. Property management agreement, right? Signed by both properties. And for some companies, once you verify that they are the actual owner, which you should actually verify it before they sign the PMA. Just a helpful hint in case you're not doing it. I'll share a quick story. I did not always do that. And one time what happened was I had a client, we'll call him John Doe, and John signed the PMA. We found a tenant, placed the tenant, and then later found out, like a week later, we got a phone call from, we'll call him Harry Doe. And Harry goes, "Hey, what the hell is going on? There's somebody in my property." And we're like, "Oh shit, which property?" So we go back to John, and John's like, "Oh yeah, there's a partner, but I have permission to just get it rented out." I'm like, "Harry just called us. You're full of shit. You do not have permission to do that." Anyway, 6 months of mediation later, we resolved the conflict, but you don't have to make that mistake, right? So you got your trigger, and then your outcome. We have to know, what does success look like? And just that question is a powerful, powerful question, not just in business, not just in this SOP, but everywhere in life. Like your kids, what does success look like in this task that you're giving them, right? Or like, going to church, what does success look like? Hey, look, I need you to sit there 45 minutes, be quiet, think of, something else if you want to, but like, success looks like you being quiet in church. Anyway, successful completion, all required documents submitted, owner portal activated within 48 hours, owner expectations document signed and aligned if you have one of those. But then there's also, success or lack of success if the owner backs out or if you decide that you want to cancel that person. So the process is either paused if you don't get the information back when you need it, or the owner cancels, right? So any of those outcomes can exist. Key milestones and required steps. I mean, this is these are the wires. This is the guts of the SOP, right? So initial owner communication, and the step-by-steps. Send the welcome email with intake form, owner handbook, timeline overview. If you're wondering, what does that welcome email look like if you don't already have one? Well, that's one of the resources that we're going to send you after this in the email. So make sure you check your email. Documentation checklist, right? What are the documents that you require to collect before anything can pass through the owner onboarding procedure? So, sorry, I needed to sit down there for a sec. Proof of landlord insurance, home warranty, and these are all questions that need to be asked in policies, right? So, you might have a question mark Like sign PMA. We know we need that, but do we need home warranty docs if applicable? All right. Do we allow home warranties? Do you live in an area that has a lot of HOAs? We did when we had a property management company. Everything had an HOA. And what is the pain in the rear end with an HOA doc? They change every year, but nobody tells you. You have to go after them and chase them. Oh my God, what a nightmare. Unless that's improved or if you have a better system for it. But at the time, we did not. So we paid dearly for it. And I hope you do. Property condition and compliance, financial account setup, right? These are the step-by-steps. These are the things that need to happen internally in your owner onboarding SOP. Owner portal setup, marketing prep, anything that's not on here that you do or you feel that you need to do or that your state or local legislation requires, guess what? You'll be able to just add it into this right here, your version. And I would copy and paste this, right? Copy and paste this into your version so that you can maintain the example. So if you need to defer back, you can defer back to what that example looks like. So that's what I would do for best practice. What other SOPs or, child processes are involved? Unit onboarding, property condition, make ready evaluation, tenant onboarding. These are linked SOPs that have something to do with the owner onboarding SOP. So, we need to know that. People on your team need to have clarity, and it's very simple to do. So that's why we add that. Who's involved? Now, when we talk about team members involved, we don't talk about the team member's name, not for any reason except for the fact that that person isn't always going to be the person that is in that role. So we go by roles, okay? Instead, not dinner roles, but ROLES, roles, right? Which are job role. But we go by role instead of the individual person. And when you're setting up your processes, make sure that you do have it set up by role, be very role specific. So what other team members are involved? And, you may or may not have somebody who's an owner onboarding coordinator, right? Or a portfolio manager, depending on your size and your setup. And maybe if you're a smaller business, then you're the BDM as the business owner. And maybe, depending on your size, you might even be the owner onboarding coordinator, right? But it's important, again, to defer to the roles. Company policy notes. Okay, so this is the thing that is usually not included in SOPs, but so important. So important. Like I was showing you before in the slide deck, the policies are the rules. Don't speed. Try telling me that when we're on a cross-country road trip in a Jeep Gladiator with me, my wife, 2 kids, 3 dogs, and pulling a trailer and getting 5 miles to the gallon. I just wanted to get there fast. But the rules said no speeding. So I collected several. So I didn't get them. I collected them. Several speeding tickets. Company policy notes. Again, reserve funds. Let me share. Oh, wait, I can't do that. I don't think. All right. Well, anyway, we have a whole bunch of these questions that you need to ask yourself. That is part of a knowledge base that we've worked on. And I'll tell you more on how to find out how to get access to that later. But essentially all the questions of like, do you accept tenant occupied properties? Do you have a maintenance reserve? If so, how much is it? Like all of these questions that you might not be thinking of, these are just some, okay? But you have other policies that need to go in here. So you need to think of what those are or get your team involved. And then I think this is the last piece. Yeah, the last piece on this template are the communication touch points. I had shown you a glimpse of this in the presentation, But this is what you need to be thinking through in that journey, right? You have the welcome email, next steps. When we were talking about sales to onboarding handoff, we eventually had our BDM like automatically schedule, like in their script, okay, PMA sign, here's what happens next. You're going to meet with Mary. And oh my God, like this is good news and bad news, Mrs. Owner. Like the bad news is, the good news is you're going to love Mary. Like she is incredible. She's going to take such great care of you. The bad news is that you're going to love her more than me. Because as much as, I really enjoy this relationship and knowing you and working with you, Mary is going to be the one that's holding your hand and taking care of you. And I guess that's more bad news for me because you'll be taken care of. So what was that? That was setting expectations. And I don't know why, but I've done, I think maybe 11 air quotes. If we count both fingers, now that's 22. So enough with the air quotes, but setting expectations. And that's what that sales to onboarding handoff does. These are the list, a list here that's going to be in one of those resources that we send out after this. But these are your components for your SOP for owner onboarding. Let me get back to the presentation because I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to empower this with AI in a super simple way. And we had here we go. Boom, boom. Is this it? Yes, this is it. Look at that. We got things happening. And then presenter overlay. All right. Hello. Here I am again. All right. So using AI to draft, hold on. Here we go. To draft scripts and templates. This is really easy. We have, all right. So the problem with AI is that there's two things that it requires in order to solve the problem, in order to function at a high level. Number one is memory, the knowledge. And then number two is the direction, has to know what to do. So most of the time, if you or someone on your team is trying to rewrite or create emails or text messages or scripts or whatever with AI, it doesn't sound like you. Has anybody ever received an email? I hope this email finds you well. Holy crap. I think we all know that that's AI written now, but it still happens. We have a free course that is included that you can have anybody on your team take that will help, that will create from beginning to end, your brand voice, the way you speak. So all of your emails, everything will sound like you. But you don't even necessarily need that. You can use AI for your scripts, emails, texts, video scripts, all of that stuff. So that is all of the owner onboarding stuff. But I promised you I was going to tell you how you can get a lot of these things that we've been talking about in this presentation. Number one, I'm going to give you the SOP template for free. We're going to email you that. We're going to send you this replay as well. And we're going to send you the email scripts and templates and such. But there was a lot of other cool stuff and something really awesome that we launched just a few months ago. I think maybe 7-8 months ago now. And that thing is the WHO Crew. The WHO Crew is so exciting. I know that we have some WHO Crew members on this call now. We have a mastermind right after this for our members. I think we're up to 100 members now, which is so incredible. And the mastermind after this is the AI mastermind. So let me tell you what this is about, because I got a special deal for you guys today for those who are interested. And this wonderful woman here, you might be wondering, who is that? Well, that's Betty Who. Betty Who is an AI coach. She's an AI powered coach that we have just received official notice that we will have ready and complete for our WHO Crew members for free, right? Included in the program. within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So excited. This is something we've been working on for a long time, and I'll tell you what she does. So first thing is weekly live group coaching calls. These are some of our great members here when we're in person. Weekly live group coaching calls. And that means get on, we're covering from the 4 pillars, right? So we rotate. Either it's about team, profit, system, or growth, right? These are the 4 pillars of a successful property management company. And we cover those on a rotating basis. So team, system, profit, growth. See, I got it. I got that down. We have, as you can see, online courses, all of it included, but it's not just online, on demand, and in an app. This is also live. So there's group coaching, and then there's also masterminds. So we have a few different masterminds that we place you into in our onboarding process, because guess what? We have a process and an SOP that people follow. And it's very important that we do this correctly, because we don't want to have one business owner that has under 100 doors and working in their business, which is okay, by the way, with another person who has 600 doors and they're working on their business, right? It's a different thing. So one of those is foundation. The other one is freedom. Those are the mastermind groups. We also have a BDM mastermind group that Jessica Foster, who is probably on this call, she leads the BDM mastermind group. Integrator, right? So for the person who's handling the ops, right, integrating in the company, we have an integrator mastermind. And these masterminds meet once monthly, because it's not about doing more. It's not about consuming your time, but it's about giving you the tools that you need specifically. And then the AI one, I love teaching AI and learning AI, and that's my jam. That's my jam, baby. But those masterminds, total value, $19.97 a month, right? Like this is Scott Hawker. He's one of our WHO Crew members. We have an accountability program that we pair you up with, but it's opt in or opt out. Most people opt in for it. So, again, it's do what makes the most sense for you and what you need, right? Andrew Fiedler, he needed to get some clarity in his business. I was telling you, on-demand courses, resources. If you've ever heard of EOS, a lot of people want to implement EOS, right? Strategic meetings, having the right people in the right seats. We have a consulting program that we take people through, done with you, done for you program. But all of those concepts, everything we've created, we've turned into resources in short, digestible videos that we point you to when you need them. Not just like saying, hey, just go ahead and tool around in the library. No, we give you the stuff when you need it, right? All of the right things that you need. Private community and app, like I was saying, you'll have the access to this on your phone if you want to log into the calls or any of the resources. You have your own app. It's about getting real results, right? Increasing profitability. Like Shalon, for example, in the 3rd year of working with her, her revenue increased another 59%. I just had a coaching call with someone the other day, and after that coaching call, no joke, added to their bottom line in the new fee structure that we created together, the new fee structure, $600K in profit. Took his revenue per unit from 280 to, I think, 360 or 370. And we have a calculator that does that, and we made the right decisions. Super powerful, being around the right people, getting the right things, right? And then free access to Betty Who. So Betty Who, at the first iteration for her, she's helping document your policies in a conversational way. And Betty's storing them and holding them for you in the knowledge base. And again, the AI mastermind after this, for those of you in the WHO Crew, Sina from Appley is going to be on. We're going to be going over some of that in the knowledge base. But instead of somebody being like on your team, hey, how do I do this? Or what's the policy on that? Right? Just ask Betty. Ask Betty. But Betty will ask you the questions. She'll store them. She has all the knowledge, all the best practices that over combined decades of property management experience and consulting, we've put together and gave her the knowledge. So like you'll get free access to Betty Who. And some of the people on this call are the second team member. So not only do you get the seat for yourself, but as the business owner, but you also get a secondary seat. You get to choose one other person in your organization who is going to have a seat, and they'll also be placed in a mastermind, not a business owner one, but either BDM or AI or integrator. And then they'll be able to access the group coaching and the resources. So bring a key team member. We have a lot of people that are on this call that are team members as well. And so, growth seekers, stuck owners, right? You don't have to go it alone anymore, guys. And just think about like, if this, never mind adding, 600K in profit on an annual basis, right? Which actually sounds pretty damn good. But what's just for a smaller operator, what's just one extra dollar worth to you, right? Like, what is that investment worth? Well, good news is, guys, today, not only is this priced ridiculously low at $497 a month for the program, and by the way, it's month to month. So if you decide that it's not something that works for you, okay, which happens very few times, but it's life. And it's not always a great fit. Just like in owner onboarding, you onboard an owner and then all of a sudden you find out this is not the right relationship we were looking for. Well, the same thing applies here, but it's only $497 a month and you get both seats for that. Now, on top of that, one more thing today, and it's only today by midnight. So either right on this call or by midnight tonight, this shuts off. If you put in the code when you're checking out, TWC 250 OFF, okay, you get 50% off that first month. So your first month is only, what is it? I don't know. I can't do math. 247. I don't get paid to do math. I have a calculator for that. I have Betty for that. Okay, enough of that. But $497 a month, your first month's only $247. After the first month, if you're like, you know what, this isn't for me, you've invested $247 and you've had access to your peers. You've had access to the group coaching, the masterminds, to all of the content. Trust me, you're not going to want to go away after a month, but that's what we are so confident in the value that we deliver that's why we do it, because we want you to make the right decision. So if you are interested in the WHO Crew group coaching and masterminds, I encourage you, scan this and sign up right now. Put in that code. Don't wait till later. Take intentionality, just like we were talking about intentionality with time blocking for your owner onboarding SOP. Take intentionality, take action right now and sign up for the WHO Crew. Because when you sign up for the WHO Crew, you are part of a community. You are acquiring knowledge. You have access to Betty, all of the things. And this is the next step to level you up in your business. Guys, thank you so much for being on here. Just being able to have the opportunity to talk about SOPs. I know it sounds like ridiculous, but being able to talk about SOPs and how they relate to a customer journey and an owner onboarding experience is very exciting for me. Getting to be with you guys and bring on new WHO Crew members into the community is so powerful. So guys, sign up for the WHO Crew. I have to jet. I got to go see Sina and from Aptly and the rest of the WHO Crew that's going to be on the AI Mastermind. If you're here and you're going to be there, I'll see you there. But sign up, guys. This is your opportunity to take your business to the next level. All right, signing off. See you later. Thanks for coming by, everybody.